Thank you so much. Again, my name is Asleen Zayas, and I'm the Associate Director of the Office of Financial Aid. Thank you for joining us today, and thank you for joining us financial aid presentation. I just want to give you a brief description of myself. I have been at Marymount for over 8 years now, and as some of my colleagues have mentioned through the entire program, we pride ourselves to feel we are a family, a family that strives for our students and for each and every single one of the staff members that work together collectively here at Marymount. As Greg had said, we are going to be providing some information about the financial aid process, and then we'll open up the program for any questions that you may have. The types of financial aid that are available to our students here at Marymount can be provided through the government, through the institution, as well as through external agencies to assist the student with their educational overall costs. The types or of forms of financial aid available to our students can be in the form of scholarships that can be merit-based, based on your academic profile when you are admitted to the college, as well as talent awards and through your programs as well. And we also offer institutional grants, and students can also be eligible for federal and state grant through the FAFSA process. Students who may be eligible to find employment through the work-study program. That's also another program available to our students here at Marymount. And more information about the actual process will be provided during the welcome week. However, we recommend students to right now update their resume so that when it's ready to apply for those positions, you'll be all set. The other opportunities that are available to students are loans through the federal government. A student who is a freshman is able to borrow up to $5,500 in a federal student loan for the year. However, the parent can also borrow the Parent Plus loan as well, up to the cost of attendance for that year. And lastly, we highly recommend students to apply for external scholarship resources along with all of the other aid. It will make it affordable for you to attend MMC. Bear in mind, and I just want to mention that if you were to receive an external scholarship, your institutional aid will not be impacted. Marymount does not adjust a student's institutional aid were you to receive an external award. The financial aid process becomes available each October 1st. So students are we highly recommend students to apply for the FAFSA when it becomes available. Make sure that you list our school code, which is 002769 on your application so that we can receive your FAFSA and further complete your financial aid award package. If you haven't completed the FAFSA form at this time, you still have time to complete it. I know it can be sometimes a little tedious to complete something that you are not familiar with, but once you complete the FAFSA form each consecutive year after that, it will become an easy breeze. It's something that you will just need to update just the income information for that particular year. And so when we receive your FAFSA form, our office will then prepare your financial aid award package, which will include your institutional merit and grants, if you qualify for those, your federal and state aid as well, and any loans that you may qualify for from the federal government. One of the things that the government is requiring at this point is for students who would like to be considered for additional federal benefits as a result of the current pandemic of COVID-19, is that you have the FAFSA form on file. So we highly recommend students to complete it to be considered for the temporary expansion of food assistance program or for the higher education emergency relief fund. We understand the current implications that this pandemic has caused to many families. And just so that you're aware, when you're completing your FAFSA form, you are providing information about income for 2018. However, the government allows a financial aid administrator to take into account other circumstances not listed on the FAFSA, such as the decrease in parental income through separation or divorce, um, the loss of employment or disability, the loss of income due to death of one of the parents on the FAFSA form, parental expenses for private school tuition in 2019 for children other than the students, um, or unreimbursed medical expenses. So if your family is experiencing any of these types of circumstances, please contact your admissions counselor or our office, and we will provide you with information on how you can submit your documentation to our office for review to determine if it will have an impact on your financial aid award package. There are particular documentation that we will require. That email will detail all of that information. And the safest way for you to submit that documentation will be through our CSS Dropbox, which is located on our website. And as I mentioned before, the CSS Dropbox, it's the most secure way to upload your information. Make sure you have your student ID, your full name on all of your documentation or your file. And all you will have to do is go to the main website and at the right-hand corner, type CSS Dropbox. If your family is undergoing circumstances that were not outlined on the previous slide, you can also submit a letter explaining your circumstances through our office as well through the Dropbox. The average cost to attend Marymount for the next school year as a resident student is $56,780. And that includes room, board, tuition, and fees. And for our commuters, it's $37,410. Those two numbers are your direct costs to the institution, depending on how you will be staying or commuting to the college. Students may also incur indirect costs such as books, transportation, technology, or personal expenses, which we outline on your award letter as well. One of the things that Marymount is doing is that it's keeping the tuition costs the same for this coming year as it was this year to kind of assist parents and families with the financial of the current crisis. As I mentioned before, students have the option of borrowing a federal subsidized or unsubsidized loan through the federal government. It's $5,500 for the year. This process has already been opened by the government as of April 15, as we are already receiving promissory notes and loan entrance counseling for our students. And if you're interested in borrowing your loans, you will be required to complete these two requirements at studentaid.gov. You can do these requirements up at any time until the beginning of the term. However, we recommend that you complete them as soon as possible so they will also be listed on your bill statement when it becomes available after your registration. The federal program, the federal government also provides parents the option of borrowing the Parent Plus loan, which they can complete online on the same website as well, studentaid.gov, and that process has already started. They will be required to complete the application as well as a promissory note if they are approved for the Parent Plus loan. Marymount also offers an interest-free payment plan option, which is available to students once they register for the upcoming semester. The payment due date for the fall semester is due July 21st. This doesn't necessarily mean that you have to have all payments due by this date. It just means that you have to have everything established by this date. If you are planning to enroll in the payment plan, you need to have you will be required to enroll depending on when you enroll. For instance, if you enroll between July 22nd and August 24th, you will have to have 25% down in 3 equal payments between September and November. The payment due date is due every 5th of every month. But if it falls on a weekend, the payment will then be processed on the following business day. It's a free, as I said, it's a free interest plan, and it does take into account all of your other aid that you are receiving. Some of the websites that are important for our students to know. The first one is for the external scholarships opportunities. That's fastweb.com. We highly recommend students to apply for external scholarships. As I mentioned before, Marymount does not reduce your institutional aid were you to receive an external scholarship. The FAFSA will require for you to provide information such as your name. It will also provide you what's your major, and then it will match any of the nationwide scholarships available that you may qualify for. So take advantage of that website. And then the federal financial aid websites, which is studentaid.gov or FAFSA.gov, they're both the same websites. They will guide you to the same webpage. And this is where you will complete your FAFSA form each year, as well as your loan requirements. And lastly, the New York State TAP website. This is for students who may qualify for the New York State TAP Award. You will also be required to complete the TAP application as well. And so if anyone has any questions, you're more than welcome to type your questions through the chat. This is our contact information, financialaid@mmm.edu, 212-517-0500. My email address is azayas@mmm.edu, and the director email address and contact information, her name is Christina Venet, and it's tvenet@mmm.edu.